Hello world, welcome to Quiet Defaults. Today, we're going to talk about something that rarely feels important in the moment, but quietly decides the rest of the year, the first quarter, and why what happens after January matters far more than the resolutions made within it. Why the first quarter quietly determines your financial year. This isn't about budgeting tricks or financial discipline. It's about timing, systems, and the subtle habits that take shape when no one is paying attention. Opening, the illusion of January. Every year begins the same way. Ambitious plans, fresh promises, confident declarations about change. January is generous with optimism. It encourages bold statements and dramatic resolutions, most of which are spoken aloud, shared publicly, and gradually abandoned in private. And yet, most financial years are not undone by catastrophe. They are not destroyed by a single reckless decision or a visible mistake. They unravel quietly, not in January, when intention is loud and motivation is performative, but in the weeks that follow when attention softens, effort gives way to habit, and structure begins to form without announcements. The year is rarely decided at the beginning. It is decided shortly after, when no one believes a decision is being made at all. Why the first quarter matters. The first quarter has a peculiar advantage. Nothing feels urgent yet. No deadlines demand obedience. No consequences apply pressure. Time feels available, forgiving, even spacious. And that is precisely what makes it dangerous. This is the period when routines settle without resistance, when spending patterns normalize, when saving becomes optional or automatic, and when financial behavior quietly shifts from conscious choice to habit. Most people do not sabotage their finances. They simply stop paying attention. They allow structure to form by default. And defaults, once established, are remarkably loyal. They persist quietly. They resist change politely. They do not ask permission. Systems, not intentions. There is a comforting belief that financial outcomes depend on discipline. They do not. They depend on design. Discipline is theatrical. Design is discreet. An intention relies on willpower. A system relies on inevitability. One demands effort every day. The other asks for foresight once. The first quarter is a rare interval when redesign is inexpensive before habits harden, before momentum accelerates, before correction feels intrusive. Miss this window, and every adjustment becomes a negotiation with time, with comfort, with oneself. Late changes are not difficult because they are complex. They are difficult because they interrupt something already in motion. The subtle momentum of early design. By February, behavior begins to repeat. By March, it begins to feel normal. This is not commitment. It is acclimatization. What starts as a temporary pattern quietly becomes the baseline, and baselines are powerful. They define what feels reasonable. They shape what feels excessive. They determine what feels possible. Once established, these patterns do not announce themselves. They simply continue. And most people mistake continuity for control. The decisions that lock in early. By the end of March, three things are usually settled. First, awareness. Not precision. Not obsession. Simply knowing where money tends to go when no one is watching. Second, automation. Whether money moves quietly on its own or waits patiently for attention that may never arrive. Third, emotional posture. Whether money feels neutral, tense, or carefully avoided. This emotional relationship matters more than numbers because it determines how often decisions are deferred. Once these three stabilize, change begins to feel unnatural even when change is necessary. This is why late-year resets feel exhausting. They attempt to renegotiate systems already at ease with themselves. A simple illustration. Consider two people. Similar incomes. Similar responsibilities. Similar ambitions. One begins the year energized, armed with goals, spreadsheets, and declarations of intent. The other does very little that appears impressive. One automatic transfer. One quiet constraint. One account designed to remove temptation entirely. No speeches. No resolutions. No dramatic shifts. By mid-year, the difference is invisible. By year-end, it is unmistakable. Not in wealth. In composure. One feels reactive. The other feels prepared. The divergence was not caused by discipline. It was caused by timing and design. Stability before strategy. Much attention is given to optimization, better returns, smarter investments, more efficient strategies. But optimization without stability produces anxiety, not progress. The first quarter is not meant for maximizing. It is meant for stabilizing. Predictability precedes growth. Clarity precedes confidence. When finances are predictable, thinking improves. When they are not, even good opportunities feel disruptive. Stability rarely attracts attention, but it compounds relentlessly. The illusion of later. There is a quiet assumption that financial structure can always be addressed later. After the quarter ends. After work slows down. After clarity arrives. But later rarely appears as scheduled. Later is crowded. Later is impatient. Later is expensive. The first quarter offers something rare: time without urgency. And once that disappears, design becomes maintenance. And maintenance is always harder than creation. A quiet Q1 reset. A full overhaul is unnecessary. What matters is what exists before March. One system that runs without supervision. One boundary that prevents future regret. One simplification that removes recurring decisions. These do not need to be perfect. They need to be persistent. When established early, the rest of the year behaves differently, not perfectly, but cooperatively. The first quarter does not reward enthusiasm. It rewards foresight. Most financial years are not lost loudly. They are conceded quietly when defaults go unquestioned and systems are left to decide on our behalf. Design that early window with care. Because once it passes, the rest of the year has remarkably little influence. That is where control is found. Thank you for spending this time with Quiet Defaults. Stay safe, align with your inner peace, and have a wonderful time ahead. Until we meet again.